Hey, back again. Saturday morning, Sparks, Nevada. I don't know what day it is, sometime in September. I thought I was going to leave this day alone, but I just watched a video. See, I'm supposed to watch this stuff. Nothing, no single event hooked to another event happens with me by random. It's acquisition of data, which is acquisition of information that is being experienced by some other data transfer agent. Okay, another computer terminal exchanging data with me, which is what just happened. So I thought, okay, I just got your data, which is your information of what you're experiencing, where you are, and where is he? He's in Maui. Now, without writing a whole book on this, I thought what I'd do, well, what relevance or what value does this have if I'm going to share information that has value? Okay, because that's what I hope that I impart for everybody that's here on this planet at any one given moment of time in which I'm experiencing the information that I'm experiencing at the moment that I am, and what relevance that it has for the rest of everybody else in humanity. So this is what I thought I would share, because after watching that video from the guy from Maui, he was in his car and he had his camera on and he was showing car after car after car after car after car after car after car. I mean, this guy was going down the street saying this was near Front Street on Maui, and you could see for as long as this guy was driving, doing about 40 miles an hour, and it's like, my God, what is this? About 5,000 people all line up with their cars in a food line? What? Okay, so the first question is why are they all in line? What do they need? Well, go to any park where there's a bunch of pigeons. And what are pigeons doing? Waiting for you to feed them. So they're waiting to get fed. They need food. So they're all sitting in line like pigeons, waiting to get fed. That's dependency, isn't it? Yes, it is. That's dependency on the food giver. Just like, please don't feed the bears. Otherwise, you reprogram them. So they were programmed to become dependent on the programmer. It's in memory. I come to you because you're the one that is holding all the food. You're the one who's got all the money. You're the one that's got all the electrons. So I got to come to you because I can't self-sustain my own copper top battery. I need you. That was the biggest crime they committed on the planet. Okay? Now, my first big lesson, which is an anchor point in all this, again, was having grown up in a family where everything was being provided. And I always wanted to be with the girl on the planet because her frequencies are naturally higher, which is to be in nature. Now, that's natural for an Indian who loves nature, loves to always be with her, with the way that nature works. So all you got to do is look at the Roman Empire. We defeated them once in 408 AD, where they wanted to conquer and control everything. Remember, all roads lead to Rome. Put it together. Vatican, Rome, City of London, Washington, D.C., okay? The military arm, the financial capital arm, and the spiritual arm of satanic stuff. Control what we can't love. They live in fear of what love is, which is insanity. Because fear is not going to hurt. Love is not going to hurt you. Love is energy giving. That's high-speed communication. So why is this relevant? Well, when I look at my own timeline, I left Hawaii, didn't I? My intuition was telling me it's time to leave. You're not going to lock my spirit down, okay? It just isn't going to happen. So free living spirit, living in the light, knows when to impart itself to maintain what it is, which is to restore the light wherever we go. So we don't like to experience low-density consciousness, but the light has to come in there to restore it, which is sanity. So the reason that that's relevant, what's happening on Maui, that this guy said, this is not a pleasant experience to share this with you, but I felt it was important to share it. Thank you for that. Because they're on an island. What are they going to do? Well, you could have read this on the wall already, actually, as soon as they came out with COVID, right? And of course, conversation that I had with a girl by the name of Lay Leach, who's a A+ positive Kanaka Maholi. She's just an old, ancient soul. She still exercises aloha. And see, the Hawaiian Islands used to be one of the most productive in terms of food production in the entire Pacific. But when they got invaded by Draco and Anunnaki, you were converted, or the Hawaiian Islands was converted to dependency on them. To the Hawaiians, that's called an occupation of parasites. So now they get programmed to become parasites and now depend on bigger parasites. So now what we have to measure in Laniakea, if you will, is what is the rate of reproduction of seed data exchange that represents parasitic consciousness? Because that's what it is. All those cars that are all lined up on Maui are essentially parasites. Okay? They need food. They need energy. So my biggest wake-up call, as I mentioned one time in 1972, when I left the convenience of a nice home, everything's push button, okay? I pay the electric bill, which means we got to pay for everything, right? And so I left, and I went to the island of Kauai, lived in a tree house. Everything was self-sustaining. Mother Earth is providing for us everything that we need. Guavas, avocados, passion fruit, star fruit. So we grew our own garden. Put up a net out there. We didn't need any money. We didn't need them. That was the first time in my life here that I began to realize this is how it was meant to be. You begin to realize through her, she's already providing you for everything you need. Rich soil to grow things with. Beautiful trees to hang out with. Beautiful ocean to go surfing in. Which means when you understand how permaculture works, nature will take care of itself for you. Which means you're giving love back to the love that it's giving you. You're in harmony with nature. It will naturally provide for you what you need because you are naturally giving back what it is. You're getting back more of what you already are. That's a self-sustaining battery. It's a power station. All these people that are lining up did not learn how that worked. And how come? Because they were learning from parasites how to be parasites. So they mimic what it is that they learn from, how to be what that is, without knowing better. This is why they disconnected everybody, okay, moved everybody off the land into cities, built cities, and now you see them as nothing more than kill zones, dependent. When you're an ecologist and you realize, for example, the city of, San Francisco, I did a study on that once, about 30 years ago. How long would it take for that city to collapse? And everybody would just start stealing from each other whatever's left. So the ultimate predator is going to try and grab as much as it can. I'm going to steal from the store first. All you have to do is the word gets out in the city of San Francisco, we're not going to get any food for 5 days. So predators are going to arm themselves with guns to protect themselves, steal everything they can so they can survive. They don't want to lose any energy. Now you begin to understand the nature of how this all works. See? There used to be an old saying I grew up with when I was a kid. He who has the gold makes the rules. Leave the gold in the planet. Guess what happens? You can experience higher frequency energy. No, I got to have it. Drill it. Now I've got control of the gold. Why does gold have so much value? Because the rate at which it can speed information. Why do you think they use gold in computers, high-end computers? Remember, we're a computer terminal. Data exchange. Used to be they put gold in fillings in your teeth. Remember, my father used to show me his gold fillings. Hell, they put gold in you? Wow, they knew what they were doing. Yeah, they're piezoelectric. By the 1950s, I guess it was, he started to put in there what? Mercury. That's called a frame of reference between how they used to do things and how they do things now. So it didn't take very long to figure out when you start out in the 1950s with all the information and knowledge that my mother had about nutrition and energy medicine from the earth and how there was a major conversion, okay, of losing the frame of reference, the ancient knowledge that was being passed on from one generation to the next. It's being lost in translation. So now you become something that you're not through them. And that's what happens. So we have to measure in a biosphere the rate of an infection, if you will, or what I call the rate of a virus, even though there really isn't a virus. The way that I measure it is the loss of light, which would be the loss of light in a computer, which is limited data. Now it's running on limited data. It's not able to experience more light, more of what it is. Now it's dependent on something else in order to get what it needs. Now you're on your knees. Obey the ruler. We will dictate to you instead of you being free to be what you are and share that energy with others. That's why love is freedom. That's why love is self-rule. You are free to express yourself because the energy that you use to experience who you are does no harm. So the universe lives by one rule. And that's what makes it simple. So everything that's going down right now is ending parasitic consciousness. So I remember a while back I thought, well, how many are we going to have left? You know, when we start doing a numerical quantification and making a qualitative assessment, I look at it through a different lens, which is how many students did we lose? Because when you realize that the Milky Way University campus is a classroom, how many students did we lose here over back tunes? In other words, how fast were these souls learning to become power stations in the cosmos, from which they've learned how to live in peace, harmony, and balance with each other? See what I'm saying? I remember Patty Broussard said at one time, well, out of 7.5 billion batteries, what do we got, about 155,000? That's a bad number. You know, it's sort of like, depending on the scales you want to use. You want to use the scale of a galaxy, you want to use the scale of a supercluster, of how many energy service providers were graduating out of lower creation, okay, into higher creation, if you will, which means higher consciousness. That's a measurement. Everything is a measurement. So, for example, if I'm a teacher in a classroom and I've been at this university for 10 years and I'm only graduating 10% of all of our students in that university, that makes us look bad, doesn't it? It makes the light look bad. That's how I measured this classroom. That's how I measure my classrooms. That's why the children are your future and why it's important to teach your children early how light works. And that's why we got to end it once and for all. We can't keep losing students at the rate at which we are. That's why we're here. That's why I collected all the data that I did while I came in here. Anyway, you all have a great day. Grow a garden. Start learning how to grow a garden. Okay? Then you know you can sustain yourself. And what I've always said is try and spend some time in nature. Be with her for a while. She'll heal you. You begin to realize, hey, I'm in a timeless state. That's beautiful energy to experience. Clear all the electrical resistance. Dissolve all the programs and programming. so that you're not held captive by anything. You are free to be who you are in a living spirit. Anyway, have a great day. I give my love and light to everybody that's living in the Hawaiian Islands. Oh yeah, lastly, I also saw another video I was supposed to see just to inform me that how my intuition works. I was staying in Medford, Oregon for a while because I used to live out in the Applegate, which is where the Cabal has a deep dome. And I thought to myself, I'm coming back here because I love the Siskiyou Mountains, the Klamath Mountains. That's a lot of bears in that country, okay? And I saw all the fires that they had in Phoenix. And I realized how they wiped out a lot of homes in a place I just left. I said I was going to be back because I wanted to do some camping out there and visit some friends in the summer. I guess I knew what was going to happen there, and I wasn't supposed to be there when all that was going down. I was supposed to be here. See how it works? You write your own timeline so you don't experience certain things, experience other things for the reason that we learn from everything we experience. Anyway, have a good day. Bye now.